You should obtain advice from your doctor or medical professional before participating in any activities offered by Chronically Awesome. Never rely on our content in place of seeking professional medical advice. By using this video, you agree that you are voluntarily using or acting upon our content. You also agree that, save where Chronically Awesome is at fault, your use of or acting upon the content is at your own risk, including, but not limited to, all risk to yourself of harm, injury or illness, and in particular any harm, injury or illness resulting from overexertion or exacerbation of any medical conditions caused by the use of the content. Always remember that, if you experience pain while using or acting upon our content, stop and consult your doctor or medical professional. Always warm up before a class and warm down after. You do not need to complete an entire class. You can always start with a short section and build up to completing a full class over time. Pace yourself and listen to your body. Most of all, have fun. Exercise should be empowering and make you feel good. If it's not fun, try a different style of class until you find something you enjoy.
Hi, so today we're going to do a Pilates video using a resistant band. This one's a medium resistance. You could go lighter, but I wouldn't go any heavier than medium. We're going to be starting in the relaxation position on our back, and then we're going to gently come up to a seated position. So to start off with, we're going to actually wrap the band around the back of our ribs, so where a bra strap would be, and making sure that we've got the same distance evenly, where we're going to be holding it between our thumb and our forefinger. So just holding here for a moment, we're then going to come carefully down onto our mat. If you need a head cushion, please use one today. I'm just going to show you a little demonstration about why sometimes a head cushion is really, really important. It really helps get that correct neutral alignment. So if you see, if I don't have one, my head's a little bit too far back, which means my chin is pointing up and my ribs are naturally wanting to poke out. So this is making it very difficult for me to have that correct alignment starting position. So a head cushion or a small folded up towel just really helps with that. And some people need two, some people don't need one at all, so it all depends what feels comfortable for you. So first, let's just take a little moment of our relaxation position. So we want the feet to be parallel and about hip width apart. And thinking about the three body weights into the mat, so the back of the head, the back of the rib cage and the back of the pelvis. And we want the natural curves of the spine, so that little pocket of air between the mat and the lower back. You can have your hands resting on your hip bones or down by the side, but this is the time just to take for yourself. Take a moment to review and scan your body and how it's feeling today. We want the chest to be nice and open, shoulders relaxed. Good. So we're going to come into our lateral breathing before we start picking up the band. So let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose, really feeling that rib cage just start to widen and open. And then as you exhale, just feeling it start to close in again. So breathing in through the nose. And then just releasing everything out the mouth, just feeling the body start to relax a little bit more each time. Good. So thinking about those thigh bones sitting comfortably into the hip sockets. And the knees are nicely parallel, that we're not rolling them in towards each other or having them roll out. Good. Let's settle ourselves back in the mat and just gently we're going to just mobilize the neck a little bit, especially as we're going to be adding the resistance with the band on our shoulders. So let's take a breath in, and as we exhale, just carefully looking over to one side. And then we can come back to center and go over to the other. So again, really being gentle, don't force it, it's just allowing the head to rock side to side. Just freeing any tension you might be feeling in the neck. Let's just do one more to each side. And then when you've done an even amount, just settling that head comfortably in the middle. Good. And we're going to pick up our bands now. So we should have them positioned underneath the rib cage, and we're going to pull them up so our arms are now going to be underneath our shoulders. So just taking a moment, the resistance is wanting to sort of pull us down. So don't force it, we still want the shoulders to be nice and relaxed, a soft bend in the elbow. We're going to come into some shoulder drops. So taking a breath in, we're going to reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, just feeling that shoulder gently lift away, tummy's engaged, and then relaxing it back down. So we're thinking scapula gliding over that rib cage, back down. So breathing in and exhaling, breathing in and exhaling. Just going to do a couple of these. Breathing in, feeling that chest nice and open. We don't want to be bracing anywhere. Reaching up, lowering down. And once you've done a few, we're going to go into a double version. So taking a breath in, let's reach both up. Feeling the scapulas just glide away, and then we're releasing. Two more. Breathing in and releasing. Breathing in and releasing. Good. Let's turn those palms now towards to face the knees. We're going to come into our rib cage closure. So let's take a breath in, and as you exhale, let's start to draw those arms back. So we've got the band that's giving us feedback. We might not be able to go very far, but we want to keep that rib cage lovely and grounded, and don't want it to be flaring. And then back. Two more. Breathing in and back. One more. And then back. Good. We're going to go straight into some arm circles now. So we're just going to draw those arms away and then slowly come out to the side and down and back. So just breathing naturally. Relaxing that neck, relaxing those shoulders. Start to working the shoulders a little bit now with the resistance. Tummy still engaged, keeping our spine in a nice neutral position. Let's reverse it. So finding that center, let's bring them down and around. Down and around. Breathing. I'm going to do two more after this one. Last one. Bringing those hands back over the chest. Lower the arms all the way down and just have a quick little release of those shoulders. Good. And then we're going to bring them back up. We've got one more. So making sure that the bands are coming in towards, we don't want to lock those elbows. We're going to come into some fly. So again, really important to be engaging that center and not just letting the arms drop to the side and we lose that neutral. So let's take a breath in, and as we exhale, let's open those arms out. So we don't want to just release and let the spine do its own thing. That spine is staying nice and grounded in its neutral. Let's exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. Let's do three more. Gauging that tummy. Two. Last one. Good. Turn those palms to the knees, lower them down and release the band. Good. Let's just take a little moment. Might just want to stretch the fingers out a little bit. It's always quite hard getting used to holding a resistant band. And then we're going to carefully slide it out from underneath us. And before we do anything, we're just going to come into some a double knee fold into some toe taps. So arms down by the side of the body. We're going to peel that right heel up and come into a single knee fold. And then we're going to lower it back down with control. Other side. So we're exhaling, thinking thigh bone sitting comfortably in that hip. We haven't lost our neutral, we've still got that pocket of air. And then we're lowering the foot back down. Let's come into a double knee fold. So let's bring the right followed by the left and just hold here for a moment. So thinking grounded tailbone, the knees aren't too forward. We're going to come into something called toe taps. So taking a breath in to prepare. And then just releasing. Then on the next in-breath, we're going to start to lengthen and lower that leg away. So thinking thigh bone moving and hip. Exhaling, coming back. Other side, breathing in and exhaling. So this is really good for understanding our core stability. We're really having to work those core muscles to keep our spine in a nice neutral position. So we're maintaining the angle of the knee and thinking thigh bone lengthening away, so we're not just dropping the foot. You might only be able to come halfway, that's absolutely fine. Just doing a couple more. But the important thing is getting an understanding of our core muscles, really having to engage and connect to keep our spine lovely and neutral. We're just going to do 2 more of these, 1 more to each side. Good. And then you can bring those knees in, just give yourself a lovely hug. Just roll, release the lower back if you need to. And then we're going to take our band and we're going to wrap it around our thighs. So let's just find that starting position. Arms down by the side, the feet are parallel, they're hip width apart, really thinking about that big toe, little toe center of the heel. So we're going to come into some spine curls now. So the band is there to give us a little bit of feedback so we don't start to lose our knees. So let's take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to start by imprinting that lower spine. And then we're going to be pushing through the feet as we open those hips and start to draw those knees away as our hips come up and our ribs come down. Take a nice breath in here, exhaling, drawing ourselves back down, bone by bone. Back to the starting position. So going again, breathing in and breathing out. So hips open, they're coming up. Ribs are coming down, breath in and coming back down again. Good, let's just do 1 more. So we're tucking that tailbone, we're pushing through the feet, we're opening those hips, keeping that chest nice and open. And then we're going to just carefully lower ourselves back down, bone by bone, and back to the start. And then we're going to come into some knee drops now. So we've got the resistance of the band just to make it a little bit more challenging. Let's place our hands on our hips just to give ourselves a good bit of feedback. We want our pelvis to stay completely neutral. Try to get as little movement as possible. So let's take a breath in, and as we exhale, let's just carefully opening out that right knee. So the foot is only slightly going on the border, not too much because we've got the band there. Breathing in and release. Complete control. Other side. Breathing in and release. Alternating. So there's a lot to be thinking about. We need to be thinking about our pelvis is staying still, our spine is staying still. We're coming into some lateral rotation of the hip whilst trying to keep the weight even in the other side, just to avoid any tilting, any rotation in that pelvis. Relaxing those ribs down. 1 more. Small movement. And coming back. Last one. Grounded tailbone. Good. And then just settling yourself back to center. So we're now going to combine the 2 movements together. We're going to come into our spine curl, and also we're going to be opening the knees whilst we're in that spine curl. So let's just take a moment, nice even weight through the feet. Make sure they're not too far away from the pelvis or not too near from the pelvis. We're going to take a breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to scoop, flatten that lower spine first. Open those hips, so the hips are coming up, the ribs are coming down. We're getting that lovely alignment from the knee to the hip to the shoulder. And then once we're at the top, we're going to very carefully open that right knee, feeling that glute, keeping the height, close it back down. Other side. Close it back in, and then come out of the spine curl, bone by bone, through the center line. No gripping in those arms, and release. Let's do that again. Breath in, breath out. We're tucking, we're peeling that spine with control, up and away. Opening those hips, really engaging the bum. Keeping those ribs soft. We'll start with the left leg now. Let's open and close. Other side, open, keeping the height and close. And then carefully coming out of that spine curl. Bone by bone by bone. And then releasing back to the mat. And then we can just draw those knees in again. Just give ourselves a quick little hug, a quick little rock. Placing the feet back down. We're going to come into our hip rolls now. So we've got a few variations. So let's bring those legs together. We're going to start by just doing the first stage of hip rolls. So the arms are out by the side. The chest is open and relaxed. The shoulders stay connected to the mat. And the palms are facing the ceiling. We're going to take a breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to start to draw those knees over to the right. So the left hip is lifting, but we're keeping the shoulders relaxed onto the mat. So using that core to hold that movement. Breathe in, and then exhale, engaging that center to draw those knees back. Other side, breath in, breath out. Keeping those shoulders connected, squeezing, engaging that core. So getting a lovely bit of spinal rotation. Now, if you're wanting a little bit of feedback, you can actually be holding the bands, so the two ends of the band. So as you're coming, as that top foot lifts away, you can sort of just give yourself a little bit of a steering practice, especially if you're inclined to sort of just let the knees draw away from the body. So it's good, just give yourself a little bit of a feedback. Center. One more. Good. And then we've got one final test of it. So if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, we can reach those arms above chest, palms facing. And we can come back into those hip rolls. So again, this is completely up to you. So we're really getting this lovely spiraling effect. Again, it's controlled, slow movements, keeping those shoulders connected into the mat. Really engaging that center. Let's just do one more to each side. Breathing in. Try not to let those knees slip away. Keeping those thighs fully connected so the opposite hip really is lifting. Good. And then coming back to center, where we can just lower those arms back down. And then bring the feet to hip width. Again, we're going to replace our head cushion. We're going to place the hands behind the back of the head. Again, making sure that neck is nice and free. We're going to come into our curl-ups now. So elbows in our peripheral vision. The scapula is coating the back of the rib really comfortably. We have that nice grounded tailbone. Let's take a breath in, and as we exhale, we tuck that chin and start to scoop and flex forward, looking between. Hold here for a breath. Exhaling, coming back down again. Keep going. So as we tuck the chin, don't over flex so we lose a nice flowing alignment. We want to keep about a fist width or a peach or so between the chin and the chest. Coming back down. So we're exhaling. Keeping that tailbone really grounded. Feel like you're trying to push your feet away without actually moving them, and you'll start to feel that little connection happen in the tummy. Just going to keep going. Breathe in here, hold. Exhaling. Breathe in, hold. Exhaling. We've got 3 more. So being mindful of that tailbone still. We're not yanking the head up, we're engaging that center. Good, and then after your last one, you can just release that head, place your head cushion back behind, and just let the arms rest down by the side. Again, we can just come into some very gentle neck rolls. And then come back to center. And then we're going to carefully roll over onto our side. We're going to come up to sitting. So just taking a moment here, just to avoid any sort of head rush. Just take your time. And then when you're ready, just coming up to a seated position. So coming into a seated position, we're going to come into our, what we call a long frog. Now, you may want to sit on a block or a thick book, especially if sitting is very, very uncomfortable. We're looking still for a really lovely, long lined spine. So if you're finding you're a little bit hunched, it's quite painful to be sitting upright, a block or a book will really, really help this. So ideally we want to be in the long frog position. This is where our feet, we're a fair distance away from the body, our feet come together, and we're sitting real nice and high on our seat bones. If you're hypermobile, soft Pilates balls can really help this. You can place this sort of underneath your thigh just to give yourself a little bit of stability if sort of losing the knees to gravity is a bit too much. We also have the option of just bringing the legs together as well. So again, still keeping them a fair distance away from the body. So choosing how you wish to sit. We're going to take our band and we're going to, like what we did earlier, we're going to draw it around our back to the ribcage again. And we're going to open the arms out. Now I'm actually going to bring my knees together for this. So I'm sitting nice and high, the shoulders are drawn away. We're holding the band between our thumb and the forefinger. We're going to come into some rotation of the spine. So let's take a breath in, sitting nice and tall on our seat bones. Breath in. As we exhale, we're thinking head, neck, upper spine. So almost get the feedback from the band. Just taking a nice breath here. And then we're going to come back from the center and unravel ourselves. So using that band really helps get that feedback of that spinal rotation. So again, let's go to the other side. So we're thinking head, neck, breastbone. So you're sort of pulling the opposite arm away. It's really helping with that rotation. Hold here. And then drawing yourself back. Good. You can do another one on each side. Breathing in. Exhaling. Hold here. And then coming back from the center, unraveling yourself. Other side, thinking head, neck, breastbone, using that band for feedback. We're not disturbing the pelvis. Breath in here. And then coming all the way back. And we can just lower those arms down, give the shoulders a little bit of a roll. So we're going to take our band now. We're going to come into a little bit more shoulder work. So I'm going to come into the long frog of this one. So making sure we're still sitting up really right. You can do this one in standing. Actually, you can do all the seated movements in standing if that is a preference for you. So we're going to be holding the band, a little bit of slack in front of us. I'm almost doing a bit of a low V. We're going to take a breath in as we reach that band up slightly in front of our head so we're not overextending, and then we're going to bend the elbows, feeling the shoulders draw away and a little bit of pinching together, reaching back up and drawing it forward. Let's go again, breathing in, exhaling, come to about our nose, reaching and lowering. So keeping those wrists strong, we don't want sort of flaring wrists. So bending, reaching. It's going to do 2 more. Still keeping lovely and long. We've still got that rib over hip connection. Good. 2 more. Sorry, last one. Reaching and lowering. Good. And just rolling those shoulders twice. And from here, we're going to come into our side reach. So we're going to take the band and we're going to sit on it. So we have a little bit of, not too much, a tiny bit out on one side, just so we've got enough resistance for our side reach. Now this is optional to use the band, so obviously just gives us a little bit more feedback, but we're going to be holding it again between the thumb and the forefinger, and then just resting the hands down by the side of the body. Still make sure we're really sitting up tall, we haven't collapsed, we're still engaging that tummy. So let's take a breath in as we reach the arm with the band up. We're going to hold it here, shoulder drawn away. And then as we take a breath out, we're going to just bend the opposite elbow and just allow ourselves to have a little bit of a flexed over. Breathing in here, exhaling, release. Let's just do 2 more to this side. So breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in and lowering. 1 more. Breathing in. So a very small movement. We're still trying to keep really long in the waist still. You can just roll those shoulders and then just wiggle off your band, go over to the other side. Again, got the long frog position, or we can have the legs straight in front if that's a little bit more comfortable for you. I'm going to reach up and flex over and lower. 2 more. Breathing in. Last one. Again, just being really mindful, not taking it too far, trying to keep those waists nice and long. Good. And then we can just roll the shoulders. And then we're just going to bring our feet together again, if that's okay. We're just going to come into a very gentle little spine stretch forward. So hands can be on the front of the shins, nice and long in the spine. We're going to take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to tuck that chin and just scoop the belly and start to flex the spine forward, letting the arms just slide down. Try not to move the pelvis. We're working the spine here. Breathe in and then exhaling, restacking from the bottom of the spine all the way back up. Head comes up last. I'm going to show you from the side. In our long frog, we've got a nice long spine, hands on the shins, breath in, exhaling, tucking that chin, scooping the belly, and start to flex forward. I want you to imagine like an ice cream scoop is like pulling those tummies back, or your belly button towards the back of the spine. So just allowing yourself to flex over, breathe in here. And then squeezing, coming from the lower spine to the mid spine and then back up, head comes up, looking forward. Let's just do that 1 more time. Breath in, breath out, tucking that chin, scooping that belly, flexing forward. Breathing in here and then restacking from the bottom all the way back up. And then if it feels okay, we can just slightly open the chin into a little back extension. Good. So this is where I'll leave you today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in my next video soon.